I don't know what's going on. It must be his microphone or something.
Hello.
There we go. We got sound.
At last. Jesus Christ.
I don't know what happened.
Never host a show at Red, White, and Blue's house, I tell you.
What are you guys doing over there? Maybe that's what it is.
No, we got back to his house with like 5 minutes to spare from London because it was like the protests are kind of over.
Right.
And yeah, we've just been fiddling about with his equipment for the last 15 minutes. So, Red, White, and Blue, you say something.
How you doing?
Hey, how's it going there, RWB?
Yeah, so it's my fault. It's my fault playing about the computer.
Well, everybody's just glad that we got sound now.
Nice one, man. Well, thanks for jumping in there. I didn't think you were going to be around, actually.
Well, and I didn't think I'd be around. It just turned out that I made it. Even when I got off, I wasn't sure I was going to be here in time, but we just got in, seriously, about 5 minutes ago. So.
Oh, well, cool, man. I mean, are you able to host it, or do you want us to call back in? Because we've got it. We've got it figured out now, anyway.
Either way, I can host.
It's up to you, man.
Well, I'll stay on and just, I'll keep you guys on. You can basically go ahead and run the show. But now that we got sound, let's try to keep it going.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have got sound now, so we could call back in. Maybe you can ask us a few questions about it and stuff, and then if you want to, hop off and just do it,
okay.
That's cool.
And that'll work. So tell us about it, man. What is it? It's about 8 p.m. there?
Yes, it's 20 past 8 now, yeah, and we just got back from central London. I mean, to be quite honest, there's not a great deal to tell. The resistance was pretty small, to be quite honest. There was only me,
right.
Keelan Balderson, and Red, White, and Blue. Lee Woodberg, unfortunately, had to pull out. He said he didn't have enough money. I don't know whether he's actually secretly a monarchist and couldn't bring himself to go down to London, but he pulled out last night. And I think me and Keelan had told a few people to meet us in Trafalgar Square at 11. Not knowing that Trafalgar Square was like entirely closed off, and they were kind of searching. Well, I think people were going in, but they were searching people and stuff like that. So it wasn't really feasible to meet people there. So hopefully not too many people turned up there because they wouldn't have been able to meet us. So yeah, there was just me, Red, White, and Blue, and Keelan Balderson. Basically, that was the resistance.
Well, that's one of the things that I kind of wondered about. I think by now many people are aware that Charlie Veach had been arrested. It seems that he's been released now. But I watched a little bit of it on TV here as far as the after show, and they said that there was at least 1 million people along the route, and then it was that Piers Morgan, that Brit that came over here and took over for Larry King, says that you could double that. There was at least another 1 million that was actually at the wedding, all this kind of stuff. So they're talking a whole lot of people there, but there's no reports at all about any kind of, problems. And, again, we did hear that they had arrested some people early on, so I wonder if that was what it was.
Yeah, I mean, we heard about Charlie Veach and about lots of different anarchists and people like that being arrested yesterday. I mean, to be honest, I think people were meeting in Soho Square at 10 o'clock, and I think some people were arrested there as well, but we didn't meet until 11, so we just missed all of that. So, I mean, we just landed in central London, and, I mean, it was just, everyone was calm, everyone was having a good time, and we didn't see any other protesters. And we were trying to find information out on the internet because Red, White, and Blue's got like this Android device, but his device wasn't working. And there was a rumor that the police were using like jamming equipment. I don't know whether that was true or whether just the networks were busy. But there was really no way we could kind of communicate with anyone or find out any information. So I mean, basically me and Red, White, and Blue and Keelan, we were just wandering around with the the crowds of kind of royal fans and. That's how we pretty much spent most of the day, to be honest. We were handing flyers out. Like Keelan had brought down 250 flyers. I'd taken along 200. So we were handing those out. We did a few kind of interviews and stuff, talked to a few people. And, yeah, we were basically doing that for about 3 or 4 hours.
Well, what kind of response were you getting when you were handing out these flyers?
Yeah, we spoke to a few people, and I mean they were all there just to have a good time. And
right.
I mean, one woman just said, I asked this woman, well, do you think the royals are better than us? And she was like, well, no, I don't think so. They think they are, but I don't think they are. and I had a bit of a chat with her. But I mean, she was there, kind of supporting it. Really, I mean, it was just a bit odd, really. I mean, I think everyone just goes along. And, they just don't think about what they're doing, really.
Right.
So maybe, I hope we did try and spark a few alternative thoughts off in people's minds. But yeah, there wasn't much going on at all. I mean, there were a couple of choppers flying around overhead all during the day, so I'm not sure what they were monitoring, really. But we didn't see any kind of trouble, and we didn't even see any kind of other protesters. But, I mean, the best thing about the day, really, was we ended up at the Parliament Square Peace Camp. I don't know whether you've heard about that before.
No.
Well, basically, there's been people camped out opposite Parliament in England, like peace protesters. There's a guy called Brian Hoare who is quite well known, and basically I think it's about a decade he's been down there just camping out in a tent opposite Parliament, with loads of signs around his tent protesting the wars, the wars in the Iraq and stuff like that. And it's kind of a small community built up there. Like there's about 15 tents or something. So it's like a permanent peace camp. And we actually ended up there at the end of the day, and we were chatting to some other people who were there, and that was really good. It was a good atmosphere, talking to people who were there and handing out loads of flyers and stuff like that. But yeah, apart from that, there's not a great deal to report, ABC, really. I mean, I was imagining there was going to be loads of action, but we didn't see any at all, really.
Well, very honestly, because I had talked about some of this, I don't know, over the past few weeks as far as people who are protesting, and I don't know, I'll look and see if I can find any of the links, but it seems that the authorities were aware. No doubt they were aware. I mean, we've had these different protests that were going on over the past few weeks, but they were aware of the desire out there to protest against the monarchy and protest against the cabal and the system that is promoting the war and all this stuff. So they know that there are people out there who are frustrated and who are trying to make their voices heard and trying to get this point across. So I think that they've had some time to prepare for this. And just, again, as they arrested Charlie Veach, I don't doubt that they arrested other people, too. And, they probably got all the ringleaders and got them off the streets at least a day or so ahead of time, and just kind of broke up the groupings, and just broke up the resistance.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, me and Red, White, and Blue were just reading the evening paper on the train back here, and there was a story about some activists who'd been arrested last night. They were basically planning to do a bit of street theatre where they beheaded like mannequins of Prince William. Like they'd made a mock guillotine, and they were going to do this performance in public where they beheaded these mannequins of the royals, and they were like about 68 years old or something. It was like an older couple. Red, White, and Blue just getting it out now, and it sounds pretty nuts, I'll just read it out now. This is the only article that we could find in tonight's paper about any kind of protest, and it's entitled "Anarchists Planning to Behead William Effigy Are Arrested." Protesters planning to behead effigies of Prince William, the Queen, Charles and Camilla were arrested last night. Oh, right, this was last night they were arrested, and held in a South London police station during the wedding. Police seized a working guillotine. Okay, so it wasn't a mock of it, it was a working guillotine. As they arrested Chris Knight, 68, head of anti-royal anarchist group, the Government of the Dead. His partner, Camilla Power, also 68, and some other fella as well, 45, dressed as an executioner at Knight's home in Brockley. They were held for a conspiracy to cause a public nuisance and breach of the peace. They claimed they were intending to stage a street theatre event. Sources said they were expected to be released on bail at about 3 p.m. today. And also Charlie Veach gets a mention in this short article, which was in the London Evening Standard. So, I mean, yeah, they arrested these, this elderly couple, 68 years old last night.
Well, from what you're explaining there and what that article says, it seems that, hey, at least they were doing something, but it seems that they may have went about it the wrong way. Something like that, you got a working guillotine and you got somebody dressed up as an executioner. You're giving these people something to work with,
Yeah.
Now, what you guys were doing, you go out there in your normal clothes and you're just handing out some flyers. Hey, if they come against you, now you got the moral high ground and, all this kind of thing. Can you hear?
Yeah, it's just come back. It just cut
Oh,
off.
okay. So I think that they're probably, well, you guys were doing it right is what I'm saying. And if more people had thought in terms of, hey, these guys are going to just be waiting for some knuckleheads to come out with something crazy so that they can come and get us. Let's just keep it normal, peaceful, and hand out flyers, or just, we can protest, shout, hey, this is against, what we're supposed to be paying these higher tuitions, and we're spending $70 million on these royals, all this kind of stuff. So I don't.
True, but I mean, part of me, whilst we were walking around, peacefully handing out these flyers, there was part of me that thought we do need to be making some noise here and attracting some attention, because that is
Right.
good for publicity.
Right.
We actually called Squintles, who used to host the show here, and tried to get him out with his megaphone, but he couldn't make it.
Right.
And I was a bit divided about that, because I mean, a figure like Charlie Veitch, he does attract the attention, and he does get people interested.
Right.
I think a combination of the two, really, of handing out flyers and also having people who are prepared to speak out in public is necessary. I think anyway.
I agree with that. It's just a matter of, if you never get the opportunity, like Veitch got arrested. What Veitch does, it works, and he's been recognized for it. But then, conversely, now the attention has been drawn to him, and these guys preempted him by, pulling him out of the equation. So it's just these people, boy, you have to be as strategic as they are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a point that, we have to make, that Charlie Veitch wasn't particularly subtle about what he did before the protest. I mean, he did go on CNN and other large media organizations, and he was very much associating himself with the Black Bloc anarchists, and he did, in a video, say that they're going to cause, big disruption. So it was really no surprise to me that he was arrested, to be quite honest.
And I have to say that it's not a criticism of him or what he's doing. It's just to say that, hey, there's the different techniques will gain different responses. And if you're out there and you got the megaphone, and as you said, you go on TV and you become that visible and vocal, then they're going to be looking at you that much more. So that when things like this happen, there's a royal wedding, the first people that they grab is going to be you.
Yeah, sure. That reminds me, actually, when we were down by the peace camp, I did an interview with Georgian television news, which might be on the internet. So that's
great!
Quite fun. Yeah,
great.
Georgia in Eastern Europe. There's just a couple of reporters there. They were just taking shots of the peace camp, and I just started speaking to them. And they were from Georgia, and they said, "Well, do you want to do an interview?" So I just thought it would be quite funny to get on this obscure Eastern European news channel.
Well, what did they have to say about your comments? Or how were they responding? What were you saying, and how were they responding to your comments?
Oh, I mean, the woman just asked me, why are you out protesting against the monarchy? And I just went through the list of main reasons that I have. Right. I mean, my main reason is that nobody has the right, by their birth to be more important and to have power over other people, because we're all born equal, in my opinion.
Right.
Then I also went into the finances, like, £20 million of taxpayers' money has gone towards the royal wedding, and I was just talking about stuff.
Right.
They seemed quite interested. I'm not quite sure what they were all about, really, but they were interested. It was fun. Yeah.
Well, I saw here, there were all these different reports, and basically, of course, it was all a celebratory kind of cheerleading reporting that was happening, how great she looked and how wonderful and all this kind of stuff. But they showed some of the people there, and it looked like Hyde Park was a place, and I saw that Vin said that he was there in Hyde Park, and they were jamming those guys. So
that's actually where we were. We went to Hyde Park, and that's where the signal was jammed, because Red, White, and Blue couldn't get on. Well, Red, White, and Blue can tell you about that. Anyway, can you speak into that? Just going to put Red, White, and Blue on.
Yeah, sure.
How you doing, ABC? All right.
Okay, bud. So how's it going? They jammed you there at Hyde Park, huh?
Yeah,
it seems to have happened sort of the last couple of times. I was there for the student protests back in January, and I had the same sort of trouble there. And again, last month for the union protest, like when the unions were out protesting back in March.
Right.
Same, couldn't get on the internet on my phone. And normally, any other day, I can get on there, no problem. And for some reason, today, the other 2 days, I can't get on. It seems a bit strange to me.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, and that kind of goes to what Britt and I were talking about earlier. You know, there's no doubt that these people, that the government was prepared for some of this stuff. They know that the technology that's being used. They know the feeling out there, the concern that people have about money being wasted on these royals and this kind of thing. And no doubt they expected and anticipated some resistance. So I wouldn't doubt that they jammed a whole, you know, probably a 5-mile radius or something, whatever it might be. I saw there were some planes flying. Did you see planes flying around?
Yeah, old Lancaster and a Spitfire and a couple of fighter jets, yeah.
Maybe they had those things doing some of the jam.
I was a little concerned after. So when the jets went past, I was sure they was Libyan, but I was obviously wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if they could have made it that far inside the country. They'd have been taken down. Hey, so, you know, I saw on TV they mentioned Hyde Park. They mentioned Berkeleyberry or something. I guess that's where rich, snotty people live. And it was fairly quiet there, but Hyde Park was kind of rowdy. I saw people dancing and stuff. There was another one, too, that people were kind of partying. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, Hyde Park probably had, at a guess, I'd say about 500,000 people in there, if not.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit more, a little less. Not reckon. Brit's kind of disagreeing with me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But it certainly was, but it was certainly busier than the protest last month, and when they had the talks back at Hyde Park.
Right.
Certainly a lot busier than that.
Well, I saw that they had a big screen up there, too, and they had people singing. They had some bands playing or something.
Yeah. A few bands on. Just loads of people sort of drinking and enjoying themselves. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was going to talk about this. I'll still talk about it tomorrow. But as far as my interpretation of this whole thing, I have to say that these devils did a good job. This cabal did a very, very good job. And what I mean by that is they were able to, it was like jujitsu or something, you know, take your power and use it against you, where there was this resistance and this anger out there about our tax dollars, or for that matter, you guys' tax dollars being wasted, and, you know, at the same time that you're raising tuitions and talking about cutting services, they were able to take all of that and push up, I guess they were able to turn up the notches with this illusion so much that they used our desire to be together, to commune together, to share together an event, experience it together, to celebrate, as where you say, someone else reported that too, that in Hyde Park there were like 500,000 people there. And, you know, they got the big screen, they got some bands playing, and on TV, while the lady was doing the interview, you saw people in the background dancing. No doubt there was alcohol there, and it just became this big celebration. So, you know, all of that anger and angst about, man, you wasting our tax dollars, nobody was thinking of that stuff. You know, it was a party.
That's all forgotten now, isn't it? That's all history now. And, it's all going to be the wedding, and that's all we're going to get for the next week on TV.
Yeah.
And, something else will crop up. We'll forget about that.
Right. But it's concerning, you know, if they can that easily dissuade us and turn us around from, you know, our anger and frustration with the evil that they're doing. If they can, you know, just switch us off just like that, then, it's something to be concerned about,
All right, mate, it's Brit back. Red, white, and blue's just relaxing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, people were having a good time, and they didn't think about, the fact that Britain is basically, the economy is collapsing, social programs are being cut, whilst they're paying for the royal wedding, effectively.
Yeah.
It was just it was the whole patriotism thing, because there were so many people decked out in the Union flag and waving flags around, and it was just like, what does the royal family have to do with the country, really?
Right.
They're descended from Germans anyway, so they're not even really. It's like, I don't understand the connection between the royal family and why supporting them is patriotic. This was a point on a flyer that I handed out. If you're anti-monarchy, it doesn't make you anti-patriotic, because it's patriotic to have allegiance to your land and to your culture and customs, not to a single family who are born into it. There's nothing patriotic about that.
Right.
But yeah, the number of Union flags out today was just absurd.
Right. I'm looking. Ben is saying something here. I was trying to make out what he's getting at, but he said it was an occupation. ABC, we effing did it. Blank that. Tell us what happened today. Something along those lines. I guess he's wanting to hear more about what happened. But basically, Ben, what it sounds like is nothing happened. It was, no resistance. Nobody was yelling. Brit and RWB and Keelan handed out some flyers, but there was just not a whole lot of interest in that. People were
to be honest, maybe there were pockets of people just wandered around like us three were, and people wouldn't hear about that, because at least we can talk about it on the radio, and me and Keelan have got YouTube, reasonably big YouTube channels, but
right.
Maybe there were other people wandering around doing the same thing, but there's no way to kind of connect and to communicate. So there's no way to get together over it, but there could well have been loads of different factions wandering around doing the same thing. We just don't know.
Well, and that's true. And I actually thought that because I haven't seen or heard anything at all other than what I'm hearing right now, but there's been nothing on TV. Earlier, I was looking at the Drudge Report. There was nothing on there, nothing on the other one, Huffington Post. So I'm not seeing anything about some kind of resistance or protest going on during this thing. I just think they were able to lock it down real well. But I expected that, maybe by tomorrow we will have learned of this or that, and maybe they'll be...
Yeah, possibly. There was loads of police around, and they really were shepherding people around. There were places where you just couldn't go, and they were saying you have to go down here, you have to go down there, and everyone was just being herded around the place. So it was definitely well under control. Well,
let me ask you this, because on one of the interviews that I saw on Fox News or one of these TV shows, they said that England was actually bringing some people back from the wars to help kind of protect around for this thing. Did you hear anything about that, or do you know anything about it?
I don't know anything about that. I haven't heard about that. But to be fair, the police seemed pretty reasonable to me. We didn't see any. They were just chatting. Everyone was just in a good mood. I did feel a bit of a party pooper, to be quite honest.
No, and I can understand that. But the question would be, the police were very visible. Did you see very many police?
There were loads of police all over.
Yeah.
And they were just swamping the whole of the city centre. Yeah.
Right. So
sorry, mate.
Well, I was just going to say it'd be interesting to find out what was going on in the surrounding counties with crime. If all the police were being used there to take care of that, it was like a smorgasbord for the criminals.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Crime might have shut up in the surrounding counties. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. That's another point. What was the cost of this thing? Because there were so many police, and there was these two choppers who were just they were just flying around constantly for hours, and the cost of that must have been huge. And how much did the taxpayers have to pay for that?
Right.
I don't know the exact figures, to be honest.
Yeah, I can only imagine. This whole thing is kind of surreal, because this wedding was being pumped up for a while, and we all knew about it, and meanwhile there was all this discussion amongst us and people who are, conscious or fairly aware, the concern and frustration that all of this was happening, like the bread and circuses kind of thing, at the same time that they're telling us that, they need to reduce our services and cut back this and that. And, they're going to keep the taxes where they are. It's perverted that this was occurring, but so there was this resistance and this frustration being built and built and built, and then the day comes here where you think there's going to be this climax, and it's just a peaceful kind of...
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I said to the to this Georgian news station, that, everything's being cut here, and at the same time we're celebrating monarchy and royalty, and we're having to pay tax for it. That's exactly what I said to them.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, man. It's it's some kind of cognitive dissonance where people are aware of the fact that the economy is collapsing, and the poor are becoming poorer, but at the same time they still look up to the monarchy, and they still worship royalty and celebrity as well. Yeah, it's real cognitive dissonance.
Right.
I really don't know what the answer is to get around that, to be honest. I mean, it did feel a bit lonely at times today, to be honest. It was like being kind of isolated in a zombie land or something.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the way I see it is it's almost like you have to fight fire with fire, and the way that these people are able to draw people away. We know we live in a celebrity society, and an illusion. So it's kind of like, how do we use that to reach people, to gain their attention? And I'll give you a good example. I've been trying to find this on YouTube. It hasn't showed up yet, but Stephen Colbert on Comedy Central. I don't know if you watched that or if you ever seen it, the Colbert Report.
No, I haven't seen that, no.
This guy is freaking hilarious, man. I think I've got the link for his show, for the comedy show, but he did this bit recently about Donald Trump and about Obama's taxes and stuff, and this is what he does. His whole show is him acting like he's a strong conservative. But as he's doing this, what he's doing is making fun of the conservatives. And he and Jon Stewart, they make fun of all the politicians. But primarily, they focus on showing the hypocrisy and ridiculing the conservatives, the Republicans. So, he's being entertaining and funny. He's hilarious. And he's acting like one of them, but he's revealing, while he's doing that, he's revealing the hypocrisy and the bullshit of these people. So that's a way of kind of like using what they use against us and turning around and using it against them. So something along those lines would be a way to try to reach people and still get the point across.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, satire and is a really powerful tool, I think. Yeah.
Right. And that's one example. I see Heretic said he hates the Daily Show.
Yeah, I mean, what Keelan's flyer that he was handing out has a picture of the Queen sat in a car holding a gun, and it says on the front, "Royal scroungers get a real job." And it says, taxpayers at gunpoint. So she's like this mafioso holding a gun with a silencer. And I got a good reaction actually because he's handing those out, and so was Red, White, and Blue. Red, White, and Blue's found a new talent, which is distributing flyers. He's very, very good at it.
Yeah, that's all right. What's good about it too is you make a personal connection. I mean, you're handing them out. You're face to face with somebody, so you have the opportunity to communicate something. And it's one of the things that I thought about this whole thing is, as much as we may not want to admit it or we don't talk about it much, we as human beings have a desire, and I would say a need, to socialize and commune with our brethren, so that, you have different events, whether it's a rock concert or a football game, or this thing, or any of these type of things. We want that. We go there for the event. Yeah, I want to see the football game or something. But at least half of it is just being in this crowd of 50,000, cheering at the same time. We're all sharing this event together. So there's this desire and need to do that. And I believe that this royal wedding thing, that's part of it. Like you said, people were in a good mood, and you almost felt like a downer to kind of bring up this negative stuff. Well, people are just kind of sharing in the moment and enjoying it.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, it's quite clever, really, because the people got a day off as well, which they wouldn't have had. And so that's kind of a bribe, and that immediately people in a good mood. Right,
no doubt. And then what you do also is you kind of have them participate in holding up the illusion, so that you're promoting the illusion, but you've brought them in now because of their desire and need to participate, and everything's so nice, and it's a beautiful day, and everyone's elegant, and then there's a band playing in the park, and you got the big screen, and it's just a big celebration. So they're all happy, but they're also helping to hold up this illusion of this royalty, people born into privilege and leadership, which is, like you said, bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can see how the mainstream media is playing its role in, in brainwashing the masses. Because on the train down, I was looking at what the people were reading on the train, and there was nothing cynical there. There was nothing questioning the royal wedding. And this paper that I'm looking at now, the Evening Standard, it's got a picture of William and Kate kissing, and the title is "Sealed with a Kiss." And it's like about 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 pages of just nonsense, celebrity gossip about the wedding, really. And, no kind of, well, God, it's like 9 pages actually. I'm flicking through it now. It's massive. No, like 11 pages. No, about 13 pages. I'm up to page 15, and it's still about the royal wedding. That's ridiculous. And it's none of it is critical, none of it is questioning anything, and so that, of course, that plays into brainwashing the masses as well. And
it's crazy, man. It's actually what's the word? It's brilliant, It's extremely clever. It's well, I don't know, Sometimes as I'm doing this, I kind of have to check myself, and I'm like, look, maybe I'm reading too much into it. But the bottom line is that the cabal is there. They've been there. They're staying there. They've got an agenda, and that agenda is going to go forward. Now, any of this other stuff, anything that comes close to attacking or resisting that agenda or the cabal is going to be dealt with. And I think it's just a matter of how they're going to deal with it. And, it's much easier to manage this illusion if you can bring people into it rather than, fight it directly, because then you reveal yourselves as being the devils that you are. Better to bring them along and let them participate.
Oh, yeah, man. And, I mean, we can see how the anarchists have been demonized. So, demonize the enemy is a big part of this. So, I mean, has there been any media coverage in the U.S.? Travis did a great video the other day. I don't know whether you saw that, with him doing some commentary over the top of a really awful news clip from the U.S. Did you see that one?
I think I did see that one. Yeah, he was like super sarcastic. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So has that continued today, or I mean, what's been going on?
It's been brutal. If he's interested at all in doing a follow-up to that last video, he's got tons of stuff to work with now, because, I mean, with the day here, that's all you've heard about. As a matter of fact, flipping the channels, there were at least 2 or 3 shows that I saw where the audience and the hosts were wearing those, what do they call that thing, this little kind of hat that everybody wore. It's called a Fantastic or something.
Oh, I don't know, man.
I forget the name of it, but the ladies wore a little hat.
Okay.
A weird-looking hat, but it was supposed to be, it was in vogue for this kind of event.
Okay.
Stylish and everything. And the people in the audience, these were like talk shows or something. But people were wearing this in honor of the event. And the whole show was talking about the wedding. And, she looked marvelous. And how about Pippa? We're hearing a lot about Pippa. Everybody wants her now.
Yeah. I mean, you see, to me, that's possibly even weirder than British people being behind the
yeah.
Because, the U.S., the Republic, and
right.
very proud of that. It's just crazy, you know.
But it falls right in line. You know, if any country in the world is a celebrity nation, it's the U.S. We invented celebrity. You know, I mean, well, I just say that, but we really took it with Hollywood and the whole, you know, we do illusion like nobody else. So, you know, we really bought into this stuff, and as I say, they promoted Pippa. You know, she's like the next thing. I guess she's the next bachelorette, the hottest bachelorette, or something like that. But they talked about how great Kate Middleton looked, and they're building her up to be the next Diana. You know,
I mean, she does look pretty good, mate. To be honest,
man. But you know, it was not only that; it was how how she carried herself and her physique. And the one guy said she has that nice slim physique, but then, you know, almost like a boy, but then she's got the little bump for the hips. You know, so she's not too womanly, not too voluptuous. That would be sexual. We can't have that in a future queen.
All right, man. I'll tell you something funny that I just remembered. Someone was carrying around a flag, and they'd written on it, "Good luck, William and Kate." And so I asked her, you know, why are you wishing them good luck? Do you think she's going to have an unfortunate accident in a few years' time?
Wow.
I think we got that on film, actually. I think she was offended, actually, by that.
I actually meant to ask you, hopefully you guys, you know, did a bunch of videotaping where we're going to put this on YouTube.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of video. Yeah, I mean, there's not much action in it, but there'll be some you know, decent footage to come out of it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to seeing some interviews, man. I want to see what people are saying. Although, you know, again, from what I saw on TV, the media, which, you know, is going to be edited strongly, but everybody was in this great mood, and they had a couple of older British women there talking about how wonderful everything was, and she looked fantastic. And you know, everybody's talking about the kiss on the balcony. Not one, but two kisses.
Crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass you back to Red, White, and Blue because he's got a joke to tell you. I think he wants to talk about his pal talk room as well. So I'm going to sign off here, ABC. But thanks very much for jumping in there. Much appreciated.
Yeah, man, it's great talking to you. I'm glad we could have this going.
Nice one, man. I don't think I'm going to be back in time for your show tomorrow, but I'll catch you.
Okay. All right, that's cool.
So thanks a lot, ABC. I'm just going to pass you over to Red, White, and Blue now.
Okay.
Cheers, resistors. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you later.
Oh, yeah, there.
Okay, RWB, you got like 3 minutes.
It was just this little joke I was sent today on the mobile phone, and it reads, Kate Middleton says to the Queen, "What's the secret of a long marriage?" And the Queen replies, "Wear a seatbelt and don't piss me off."
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what they call a dark joke or something. That's pretty rough.
Hey ho.
Hey, let me ask you real quick. We're not seeing a whole lot over here about Diana. I mean, I think I saw 1 or 2 shows where they kind of touched on how great she was. I mean, they didn't get into how she died or nothing, but just how, you know, everybody loved her. How about there in England? Is there much talk about Diana?
No, not really. I think it was... What was the anniversary now? A year ago? 2 years ago?
I have no idea.
It was a few, yeah. They had sort of like I think it was like the 10-year anniversary of it. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in 2007. And but other than that, no, we don't really sort of see much about it.
Wow. And we actually saw pictures here when they're panning and showing the family during the wedding and all this kind of stuff. You see Camilla sitting there with Charles. You know, it's kind of sick.
It certainly is.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Well, you got anything to say here before we sign off? We got just a couple of minutes left.
Yeah, well, I'm going to open up the Pale Talk chat room in about... Well, I'm going to open it up at 9:30, so another 30 minutes sort of after the show. Yeah, you haven't been on there, have you?
No, I don't know. What is that?
Well, I'll drop your link in. Quickly drop your link in the room in a sec.
Okay.
And yeah, basically, it's kind of I don't know if you're familiar with sort of like Yahoo Chat on them sort of terms. It's sort of pretty similar to that, but people sort of create their own channels, and you pick and choose what sort of room you go in, and you can all get and chat freely on the mic.
Yeah, I have to check that out. I never heard of that.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting on there. There's definitely some interesting channels and that on there. Well worth checking out, I reckon.
Okay, well, cool. Make sure you drop the link there in there.
Yeah, I'll drop the link there in a second. And what we got left? We've got less than a minute now.
Right.
So we'll
all
sign
right.
out and speak to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll
Take care.
talk to you guys later. All right. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, gang. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. We had a live feed from the guys who were out there. I'll be on tomorrow here on Resistance, same time, and I'll spend much more time talking about the illusion and how these devils, the cabal, have used this to bring us back on the farm, bring us back into the pen of this big matrix. So please check us out tomorrow, same time, same channel. Aside from that, thanks everybody for hanging out. Enjoy this song.